Good afternoon. Welcome to Ham Radio 2.0, live from the Ham Shack. My name is Jason. I'm KC5HWB. This is my little buddy right here, Spock. He's about 12 weeks old. He's a little lab mix that my wife rescued. My wife volunteers for Dallas Pets Alive. If you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, really anywhere in North Texas, look up Dallas Pets Alive. I think it's .org. If you're looking for a rescue dog of any type at all, they've got a lot of dogs on their website, but they got a lot of dogs kind of upcoming, going around and fostering. They don't have a facility like a shelter or something, but they have they have fosters who volunteer to foster dogs. So this little guy came in. We started fostering him last weekend, and he's gonna go quick because young puppies like this go quick. Nicknamed him Spock in honor of the new movie that's just come out. So, which I saw last week. That was really good. If you're a Star Trek fan, you'll like it. So, anyway, this is Spock here, and he's chewing on my fingers. He's gonna make some noise while we're doing this. I know. Yeah, hey, look at the camera. Look at the camera. Yeah, okay. Anyway, good afternoon. Ham Radio 2.0 episode 52, I think. Yeah, 52. AES goes QRT. AES is Amateur Electronic Supply. And let me put him down for a second. AES is Amateur Electronic Supply. Their website is aesham.com, or it was. At the time of this recording, they closed yesterday. Their last day was... what month is this? July. Their last day was July 27th, or at least at the Orlando location, it was July 27th. I walked in there. I happened to be in Orlando last week on a business trip, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go by there, and I'm going to talk to those guys and see if I can get an interview. I did not get an interview with anybody. There was only one guy working, and he was kind of with customers off and on. I did ask him, I introduced myself. I told him who I was and what my video series was, and I said, would you mind if I did some video filming inside and outside your store? And he's like, no, that's fine. So I got his card, and I told him I'd send him a link. So, Paul, thank you very much for allowing me to video record the AES Amateur Electronic Supply location in Orlando. He said that they were closing their doors for their final day on Wednesday the 27th, which was yesterday. I'm recording this intro on Thursday, July 28th, and I recorded this video last week when I was there. So, AES was, when I started to say earlier, when I got my first ticket in 94, this was before the days of the internet, before the internet got real big. I think I might have had AOL at the time, but websites were not what they are today. And so in the mail, about a month after I got my first license, I got two catalogs in the mail right around the same time. One of them was AES, and the other one was HRO. And as far as I knew, that was the only two places around. There was a place in Dallas back then called Tucker's Electronic Supply. I think it was Tucker's Electronic Supply is what it was. And they had a full lineup of ham radio equipment. A couple years after I got my first license, they sold off their ham radio division. And they sold networking gear, monitors, computer stuff, and stuff like that as well. At the same time, they sold ham radio stuff. So they sold off the ham radio end of it a couple years after I got my license. And then the Dallas-Fort Worth area basically was without a retail walk-in store for amateur radio supplies until 2014 or 15, I think, 2015, when HRO opened their doors in East Plano. East Plano is a heck of a long drive for those of us out here in Tarrant County, so I haven't actually even been out to the HRO yet in Plano. So it's not that I'm avoiding it. Who's got time to drive all the way to East Plano? You know, it's a good hour, 45 minutes to an hour out there if I want to go during the week after work. And on the weekends, I'm usually busy. So anyway, I haven't even gone out there yet. But Dallas-Fort Worth had no ham radio store except for Radio Shack, which actually sold radios back when I got my first ticket. So we would order mail order from the catalog, and I think I ordered from HRO a couple times, but I know I ordered from AES. AES was the first place the first ham radio store I ever actually bought equipment from, with the exception of Radio Shack. My first radio was an HTX 202. I've still got it somewhere. I think it's inside. Still got my original HTX 202. And it still works. The battery on it died a while ago, but you can go on Amazon and get brand new batteries for those things, and they work great. So, besides the HTX 202, I bought some stuff at AES and ordered through mail order, called them up and said, I'm looking at your catalog, I want to order this. I don't remember what it was right now. It was some coax and antennas and stuff. It wasn't anything. It wasn't a radio. I know it wasn't a radio. I think I ordered a power meter from them at one point in time, and maybe a mobile antenna for my 2-meter rig at the time. I don't remember. But that was the first place I ever shopped from a real amateur radio store, and it was a good experience. I always liked dealing with them, and I liked their customer service was always good, and I'm sad to see him go. I talked to Paul a little bit, and he said that the guy who ran it is just it's been in the family for a while, and he's getting close to retirement age, and he doesn't want it anymore, and none of his family wants it, so he decided to close. So it wasn't anything detrimental. It's just that they made a conscious decision to go ahead and close. They did sell their Milwaukee. They did sell their Milwaukee store to HRO, so HRO's got a new store in Milwaukee now. So that's kind of nice. But the other 3 stores, one in Vegas, one in Orlando, and I forget what the 4th one was, that AES had stores at, they have decided to close. So I was this was my second time in the Orlando store. The first time I went in there was last year, I think. I happened to be out in Orlando on a business trip again, and I walked in there and met those guys the first time. So this time I took the opportunity to go out there and get some video, because it won't be there anymore. So, which is sad to say. So let's take a look at the video. It's not very long. It's just some shots from the inside and the outside of Amateur Electronic Supply in Orlando, Florida. 73 to you guys. Thank you for allowing me to film, and hope to hear you guys on the air from AES. This is KC5HWB, and let's take a look at this real quick. Hey guys, this is Jason at Ham Radio 2.0, live from the Ham Shack. My call sign's KC5HWB. I'd like to take a couple of seconds here to tell you about the Duke City Hamfest in August of 2016, August 12th to the 14th. And we're going to be having a 3-day show out there. It's going to be a great event. You're going to have auctions on Friday nights, and Saturday DX contesting with the whole breakfast Saturday morning, and a Saturday evening banquet that's kind of like a end of the day type show. And they've got activities for the youth on Sunday, and a new ham workshop, and another breakfast on Sunday morning as well. So this ought to be a really great show. Anytime you get a Hamfest that's a 3-day event, it's usually pretty hefty to come out there and look at. So it's very well attended. It's got a great following on their Twitter account and their Facebook page, and it's just going to be an all around good Hamfest. So if you're anywhere near the Albuquerque area, from August 12th to 14th, I highly recommend you stop by the Duke City Hamfest. For more information, you can find their website at dukecityhamfest.org, and you can follow them on Twitter and their Facebook page as well. So hope to see you there. 73. This is Jason with Ham Radio 2.0. I'll be QRT. Okay, behind me is Amateur Electronic Supply, Orlando, Florida. And you can see their building right there. And get out of the way here and see that really cool telescoping tower, crank-up tower there with the electric motor on the bottom of it. And this is their building here, which looks relatively small from the outside, but it goes all the way through the parking lot. But if you walk inside of it, which we're going to do here in just 1 minute, if you walk inside of it, it's just a little showroom area there. I say little. It's smaller than it looks. it's got a small showroom area up front, and then they've got a huge warehouse in the back. So most of the inside part's actually a warehouse, and it's not something that they let customers back into. But it's a good it is a good location here. They've got they own this whole parking lot here to the right of the camera, and have signs up says AES and ham radio parking only, that kind of cool stuff. So I would imagine that they've done a few tailgate swap meets type gatherings in that area before. There's all the vehicles parked out there right now have antennas and call sign license plates on them, except for mine, which is a rent car. So that's one thing to note. So we're going to go inside here. I was disappointed that these guys are about to close down, so I wanted to come out here and get some footage of their shop here. So let's go inside and see what we can see on the from the inside. Okay, good afternoon. I am standing here at the Orlando, Florida location of Amateur Electronics Supply. This is KC5HWB for Ham Radio 2.0. And I got some permission from these guys to do a little bit of filming on the inside. I don't know if they'd be willing to give me an interview or not. Maybe I'll ask them here in a minute. And if they may not feel like it, they may be like, who is this guy? They don't really know who I am. But I'm going to give them the URL and tell them I'm going to give them a very favorable review. Amateur Electronics Supply has been around since I've been a ham, since before I've been a ham, actually. In 1994, when I got my first technician license. This was before the internet got real big. I think I had America Online at the time. I was in college, and of course everything was done over mail order at that point in time. So about a month, few weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks, something like that, after I got my first ticket, my first and only call sign of KC5HWB, I get 2 catalogs in the mail. One of them was HRO, and the other one was Amateur Electronics Supply, an AES catalog. And I don't remember why exactly, but I always liked the AES lineup better. Of course, this was 22 years ago. As far as websites go, they don't have the strongest website, but their catalog back in the day was pretty nice. They actually had a for a while they had their own department store credit card, which just like a little credit card that said Amateur Electronics Supply on it. It wasn't a MasterCard or Visa. It was just only usable in their store. And I applied for that and got it and used it to buy a few small items. I don't remember what they were now. It wasn't any big radio or anything like that. I couldn't afford that at the time. But AES was one of the first places. It was the first actual amateur radio store that I ever bought anything from. My first radio was a Radio Shack HTX 202. But Radio Shack's not really a ham radio store, and these days they're not even really a radio store anymore. So AES was the first ham radio store that I actually ever shopped at and purchased items from. So it's a bit of a disappointment to see that they're going to be closing for business. But, I guess that times change and whatnot. So I wanted to come by here while I was in Florida this week and get some shots of their store. This is the only one I've actually ever stepped foot in. I stepped foot in this store for the first time about 3 years ago. I don't think I've been back since. I don't get to Florida a whole lot. I've never been to their stores in Milwaukee, or I can't remember what the other 2 locations are right now off the top of my head, but I've been in this store. This is my second time to ever be in this store. I looked at their website a whole lot, and I think I purchased from their website a few times in the last 5 years or so, but this is the only store I've ever been into, and it's a good-looking store, and we're going to take a look around here on both the inside and the outside, and see what we can see here. So KC5HWB, recording from the QTH of Amateur Electronic Supply in Orlando, Florida. It's really kind of long and skinny. I got quite a pretty cool display here. Bunch of connectors and some VHF, UHF stuff right there with some meters. And some HF rigs on display. That's really nice. There's the ICOM IC9100 and the Yaesu FTDX 1200. There's your 7300, which you guys have seen that already because if you watch my episode 50, which aired not too long ago, we got to try that one out. That's a really sweet rig, it really is. Literature, they got a lot of literature down here on just hand out some brochures from different rigs and radios. And then 7851, that's the big boy ICOM. And the FTDX 5000, they've got these sitting out here on the front counter with microphones attached to them. I assume this is one or all of these radios are connected to that big tower out front. Here's the big boy, TS990. That's a hoss of a radio right there. If I had more money, guys, I would have reviewed one of those on Ham Radio 2.0 already, but I don't think I have $7,000 to spend on one episode. But that is a neat looking rig. More buttons than I ever care to learn what to do with. Probably more than you need, actually, but nevertheless, it's a really good rig. Of course, their Heil microphone there. They've even got some CB stuff behind the counter here. A lot of scanners. Scanners are a pretty hot item most of the time. This is a 2016 MFJ catalog. I'm going to grab one of those before I leave. And in the big warehouse in the back, you'll see the building outside was much, much larger than this front showroom area. They've got quite a large warehouse. And while the front area here is pretty good size, it's not nearly as large as what it looks like it is when you're coming in from the outside. This is everything. These guys up here at the counter, I don't want to get them in the shot because I haven't asked them for their permission. Here's their Heil headset here. Heil microphones and headsets, both. I should get an Elenco sign like that, hang it up at the Hamfests and shows and whatnot. I'm a big Elenco fan, as you guys know. So this is the inside of the, once again, Amateur Electronic Supply in Orlando, Florida. Really cool setup they got in here. I'm sorry to see that they will be closing for business. He did tell me that they were, I'll probably record this on another part of the segment, but he did tell me that that their Milwaukee store was going to be taken over by HRO, but their Florida store and I forget where else he said there were three other locations, including Florida, that they had decided not to take over, and they're just going to close. So this location here will be closing, and HRO will be taking over the Milwaukee location, according to what I was just told a few minutes ago. There's that 200 Meters Down book. I bought that book on Amazon not too long ago and added it to my library of things to be read next. So a lot of good stuff here. Okay, behind me are these ICOM and Kenwood rig, or no, ICOM and Yaesu rigs, which I did a pan shot of the entire store, and this is the shelf that's behind me. This is a cool display that you don't see a lot in other stores. HRO in San Francisco has something like this, and they actually have the ability to power up their radios. I don't see, there's no power to these radios right now. So perhaps at one point in time there was. The three that we saw up front have microphones hooked to them, but they're not powered up right now. So I don't know if they maybe have some displays that they power up sometimes and not others, but this is a really neat display of radios that one of the cool things about being able to walk inside of a retail brick-and-mortar amateur radio store is to be able to see all the new radios on display, turn the knobs, push the buttons, that kind of stuff. And that's one thing that that the internet can't provide you. That's one thing that online stores can't provide you. So that's one of the cool things that I like about walking into these stores when I'm in the area of any of them. Okay, there it is. AES goes QRT. 73 folks out at Amateur Electronics Supply. Good to have you in the business the last, pretty much last 22 years that I've been there. They've been in business for either 40 or 60 years. I can't remember exactly what they told me right now, but much longer than I've been a ham. And looking forward to, I always look forward to getting their catalogs in the mail and looking them up online. Missed them at Dayton last year, and this was probably already in the works, is why they didn't show up. So we'll have to rely on HRO, Main Trading Company in Texas, Universal Radio, Radio Diddy, Associated Radio up in Kansas. That's a good one. Those guys are good up there. Main Trading Company. If you're in Texas and around the area, Main Trading Company, man, those guys will wheel and deal. Give those guys a call. Tell them that you heard about them on Ham Radio 2.0, or if you've already heard about them, next time you talk to them, tell them, oh yeah, guy on Ham Radio 2.0, Jason, he mentioned you. They know who I am. I talked to them. I'm going to be doing a little bit of video for them shortly. Not sure exactly when yet. So anyway, thank you for all your years of service, AES, and hopefully you guys can find some other kind of way to be involved in amateur radio upcoming. 73 guys. This is KC5HWB. I'll be QRT.